Is guest driver and novice in the championship, Steve Brown. Steve, it's great to have you here in the championship.
Thank you. Yeah, I won this weekend as a prize. So a nice rainy weekend in Shannington. Driving yesterday, I mean, trying to get used to this kart. The amount of power and grip in these karts is absolutely phenomenal. So.
Quick through the meeting, but the man on pole position is Carl Churchill, a win in the heat and the pre-final. He lines up beside Sam Dimolo. Yeomans and Fisher are on the second row. Rainbird, Churchill, George Friday, Roland Bredner, Steve Brown and Matt Ogle, with Port, Jake White-Rowell, Stig Elbeth, Sam Fisher and Mark Lawrence at the back, with Sam Fisher and Mark Lawrence failing to finish the pre-final. Here we go. Now, Carl Churchill has broken away clear and got into the lead. Into second position is Ben Yeomans. So Sam Dimolo has dropped to third position. Look at the rain. It's starting to come down again. And this time, everybody is on slick tyres because they really didn't have any alternative. You couldn't take a gamble if you didn't know it was going to rain or not. And at the time they left the holding area, it wasn't actually raining. Neil Fisher, the E-plate currently, he's still there in the Bruno Ferrari chicane battling away. As the drivers work their way through, Carl Churchill looks back. I'm leading. I've got a nosebleed. I'm loving it out front. Now, Carl Churchill hasn't led a race this year, but don't forget, he is a previous E-plate champion, so things have definitely come together from the man from Surrey. I'm sure Ken will be very happy indeed with what Carl is doing out there as he battles his own race a little further back. But Yeomans versus Dimolo is one heck of a battle. This is basically Ben Yeomans' last chance to take the title down to Wilton Mill. Now, we know for definite that if Dimolo beats Yeomans today, he will be the champion, no matter what happens at Wilton Mill. So it's up to Yeomans to beat Dimolo, and it's a straight fight between the two of them at the moment for second place, with the reigning E-plate holder, Neil Fisher, right behind them, and the rain starting to fall. It isn't heavy yet, so it won't make a massive difference in terms of grip, but it definitely looks as though it's going to get heavier. And don't forget, no matter how much it's raining, as Fisher throws it up the inside of Dimolo, no matter how much it's raining, the wind is the big problem. 45 miles an hour gales are definitely causing problems, not just for the drivers, but for the camera crews at the side of the road as well. There you go. Winds are picking up and the drizzle's starting to get heavier. So this is going to make a big problem for any of the cameramen that are facing the rain directly. And that's going to be the next camera, actually, as they look down towards the hairpin from the Bruno Ferrari chicane. Look at it. It's really starting to get difficult to see as they work their way through. Dimolo in third, hanging on in front of Neil Fisher. This is the most average I've seen Sam Dimolo look all season. He's there in third position at the moment. I wonder if he's just waiting, biding his time, holding out for an opportunity. Carl Churchill's running well. Whoops, Neil Fisher making a very big lunge into Wilkins' hairpin there on Sam Dimolo. I think he's going to regret that one, and I wonder if there was contact. So Neil Fisher may have a little bit of an issue if he's made serious contact there with Sam Dimolo. I couldn't quite work out if he had or not. Rainbird is currently fifth in front of George Friday. Friday's had an interesting meeting. At times he's looked incredibly fast. At others, he's looked relatively reasonable. So let's see how Friday is doing as he runs there in front of Steve Brown, the rookie, Club 100 champion from 2016. And he's having a great meeting, actually. There's Churchill in front of Matt Ogle, who, again, Matt Ogle has looked really strong this weekend. But the distance between the drivers in qualifying at this level is literally hundredths of a second at times, never mind tenths of a second, as Friday again swarms all over Jim Rainbird. Up the inside goes Friday, into panic, and he's through despite being squeezed, and I think that's going to be enough to get him through. Friday is in there behind Neil Fisher. Churchill pulls off! Churchill pulls off the race leader! Mechanical failure for Carl Churchill out of Cafe, and Dimolo dives for the inside of Yeomans. That is the championship won if Yeomans can't get back through. Absolutely amazing. So Carl Churchill is out of the race with a mechanical failure while leading. I don't believe it. Winner in the heat, winner in the pre-final. Look at him. He is a man absolutely sick to his stomach. And Dimolo chooses that moment to dive for Yeomans. He saw Churchill pulling off and went, right, I can win the title. All I got to do is beat Ben. And I've done that so many times this season, I've lost count. So he's going to do it. But Yeomans has been on very scintillating form the last couple of meetings. Matt Ogle goes sideways there as the rain is really starting to come down. You could see it on that camera. Neil Fisher now trying to make his way up the inside of Yeomans, and that definitely gives Dimolo the championship if it stays like this. But Yeomans is fighting back. Look, Yeomans is signalled by Neil Fisher. Fall in behind me and let's go get Dimolo. Yeomans will not want to see that. Friday is now right behind him. But you have to say, That is absolutely devastating for the man who was leading the race, Carl Churchill. A missed opportunity. What a disappointment. Fisher now up into second position, trying to take back his E-Plate title that he won last year. George Friday has been on the podium 3 times this season in the final. He wants to do it again. He was amazing at Butmore Park. He wants to be again here, and he's pushing as hard as he can to get back up the field. Now one of the cameramen has found Carl Churchill. What went wrong? Oh, that is tragedy, absolute tragedy there for Carl Churchill. Sounds to me like he was saying the manifold overheated and then snapped. What a disaster. He's been perfect all race long, all meeting long, and it just fails on him while leading. Look, there it is. You can definitely see there, problems with the manifold. That is agony, absolute agony. He does not deserve that. Well, George Friday now swarming all over the back of Ben Yeomans. He's going to go through in a 3rd position, is he? Absolutely, he's made the place. So George Friday is now up on the podium. Terrific stuff. And that means we've now got Dimolo in the lead, Fisher in 2nd, George Friday 3rd. This is heaven sent for Sam Dimolo. It's an absolute nightmare for the number 2 of Ben Yeomans. Look, the rain is getting heavier on that part of the circuit. You can see once again the water pooling on the lens as Rainbird has got Steve Brown right underneath him. How has Steve Brown got up to speed this quickly on this kart against this field? We know how close it is. Last time we were at Shennington earlier in the season. Oh, Fisher's gone for the lead. Fisher's gone for the lead on Dimolo. Neil Fisher fighting back to get his E-Plate back. He's gone through. I was going to say, as Fisher took the lead there, I was just going to mention the fact that the last time we were at Shennington in qualifying, the top 5 were covered by 8 thousandths of a second. I've never seen that in any other karting field in history. And yet, this is how competitive the field is. Now that has backed Dimolo into George Friday. Friday's got a chance to go for 2nd. He doesn't take it there as the rain gets heavier again. George Friday still struggling. Steve Brown in 6th position at the back of this queue, just waiting to see what happens. We know how tough he is as a driver, and we know how good he can be in conditions like this. Slick tyres on a progressively wetter circuit. Because, of course, in Club 100, they only run slicks, and they race in the wet or the dry. So Steve Brown could be a dark horse as Friday makes his move on the inside of Dimolo. Friday's through in a 2nd. Now, this could take the championship a little bit further, especially if Yeomans can get through as well. But at the moment, it is Fisher leading, Friday 2nd. 3rd position is Dimolo. George Friday having an absolutely magnificent race again. What if he could catch Neil Fisher and win the E-Plate? He's doing an absolutely amazing job. So George Friday working incredibly hard to close in on the reigning E-Plate holder, who at this moment in time is going to take the E-Plate. We've had 3 completely different leaders in this E-Plate final. Churchill led and retired. Dimolo took the lead straight off of the man who did take the lead at that point, Ben Yeomans. Now Neil Fisher is your 4th different leader in the E-Plate final, but poor Ben Yeomans, he only led for about 200 yards. Very, very tough stuff indeed in this final, as the E-Plate runners towards the back of the field work their way further forward. Mark Lawrence making up places I saw there. So too for Sam Fisher on the 4-plate. But this is one heck of a battle at the front. Oh, that's another kart in trouble. That looks like Roland Bredner. Yet again, Roland Bredner. What is going wrong in 2017 for Bredner? If you broke that kart in half, it would have bad luck written through it like Blackpool Rock. He's having a nightmare season as Friday tries again to make his impression on this race. Is he going to do the same move he's pulled on Dimolo and Yeomans? No, Neil Fisher does not let him come through to the lead. Look, you can see the rain falling on the camera this time as Mark Lawrence is now at the front of the queue behind them with Sam Fisher. So they have worked their way massively through this field up into 7th and 8th position. Terrific racing. And here comes Sam Dimolo on the back of Friday and Fisher. Neil Fisher is your leader. Let's look back. There's the battle further back. That's Ken Churchill trying to hold off from Sean Port, Stig Elbeth. And at the back of the queue, that looks like Jake White-Rowell, who's had yet another frustrating weekend. Fisher looks behind him. Friday's the other side of you, mate. You want to watch it on the inside at Wilkins. Friday's going to try and do something about it. Dimolo's going to do something about it as he goes up the inside and takes 2nd place back from George Friday. That will almost certainly get the championship won for Sam Dimolo now. Less than 5 minutes to go. There's Lawrence in front of Sam Fisher. Matt Ogle in 7th place. We look back and there is the battle led by Sean Port in front of Ken Churchill. So Neil Fisher sliding around in the braking zone for the Stratford hairpin. He's not going to win the race if he does that a few more times. Look at the rain coming down now at the far side of the circuit. It's so tough to see through the haze on the camera lens. Ken Churchill up behind Sean Port. We go to the back straight once again. Look, Neil Fisher is not feeling comfortable in the lead of this race, is he? He keeps looking over his shoulder. Where's Sam? Where's Sam? I need to respond to where he's putting his card on the circuit. It's getting tricky for Neil Fisher, but now George Friday is the biggest threat. Sam Dimolo wipes his visor, takes his hand off the wheel for an instant, and now Friday is a big threat. Here we go again. Now, can George Friday come through? Just looking at the back of the field as the battle intensifies further back. There is Sam Dimolo as he works with George Friday. Now we hear there's been an incident somewhere around the circuit. Matt Ogle has disappeared from the fray. So Matt Ogle is off the circuit. And we've seen a couple of other drivers involved in that incident as well. So a couple of incidents further back, and that is a real shame. So now we've got the E-plate, Neil Fisher, battling away with Sam Dimolo, George Friday, and in fourth place, Ben Yeomans. The battle still very close indeed between these leading four. Neil Fisher tries again. Steve Brown still swarming all over the back of Jim Rainbird. You sense that he's going to pounce when he gets a good opportunity. Well, there is Ogle going through. He's still running. Another weekend away from being Lando Norris's mechanic, who's about to win the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. Will probably get the job done in a couple of weeks at Hockenheim. There's Sean Port, who's leading the battle for 10th position in front of Ken Churchill and Stig Elberth, who's looked really up for the fight all day long here. Stig Elberth, one of the oldest men in the paddock, certainly I think the oldest driver on the grid. He's into his 60s, Stig Elberth, and still ultra competitive. Absolutely amazing when you consider that these are 125cc karts that go incredibly quickly. And having driven one of these exact karts, it's Ken Churchill's I actually drove. As the rain starts to come down big style now, it's incredibly tough to keep a hold of. Look at how heavy the rain's getting now as Fisher continues to lead the way from Dimolo and Friday into the hairpin. Look, there's some massive rain as everybody tries to put their way through the corners. Here's the battle for 10th again. Churchill up the inside of Sean Port. He's going to get the way through. Oh, Neil Fisher runs wide and somehow manages to catch the kart before he spins, but Dimolo is through into the lead. So the mistake there from Neil Fisher in the rain. There was nothing you could do about that because as the leader, you are the first one to reach the conditions. You have to do the best you can as Friday's now going to try and come past. He doesn't make it through. We're in the last 2 minutes. Steve Brown has made his way past Jim Rainbird on that lap as well. So again, this is where Brown is going to come into his own. He's got plenty of experience on slick tyres in the rain. He's a Club 100 racer. They know how to drive in those conditions. Look how tough it is through the hairpin now as the rain really starts to intensify. So Dimolo leads, Fisher second, third is Friday, fourth is Yeomans. Any one of these four could win the E-plate. And there is up the inside Stig Elberth. Oh, look at that. That's sportsmanship right there. He lost the kart, went into the side of Ken Churchill. Immediately, his hand in the air. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. That is the kind of sportsmanship you get in this paddock. It's fierce, intense racing at its finest, but what you do get is sportsmanship. Look at how close Brown and Rainbird are getting to the top four. In particular, Steve Brown is bearing them down. Here they come. The rain getting heavier again. Look, Dimolo is nervous. He looks over his shoulder again. Through the hairpin, and that is Fisher. Friday running very wide. I wonder if Friday's got a problem, you know. Friday's been struggling these last couple of laps. Up the inside goes Yeomans. I think Friday may have a problem as well, but this time, Banzai's on the inside of Stratford hairpin. They both miss their braking point, and somehow they avoid contact. Now look, Fisher and Dimolo have cleared away from the rest of the field. Yeomans is through in a third. I wonder if Friday's got a problem. Now they did say they were a little bit weary about brakes, so I wonder if Friday's got a braking issue. If that's the case, he's going to have to back out of the throttle a lot earlier into the corners, and that's going to really compromise the rest of his race. So Friday has fallen out of third position. Dimolo leading, Fisher in second, third is Yeomans, fourth is Friday. Brown is catching them all up in fifth position. Look, Friday's overshot. Friday's got braking problems. Look at the rain now. That is almost impossible to see. Of course, that is the camera that's got all sorts of difficulties. Yeah, look, Friday's swarming all over the place. I think Friday's got failed brakes. I think his brakes have failed. So Friday is down into sixth position now. So that's Brown through into fourth, Rainbird through into fifth. Steve Brown is a whisker off the podium on his debut in the E-plate. Last lap, here we go. This is going to be an interesting one. Can Sam Dimolo hang on for the win here from Neil Fisher, the current E-plate holder, as they come through? Oh, Fisher's going on the other side. He goes off the road and manages to get on the inside. He's going to overshoot in the braking zone, and Dimolo's going to get him back. Oh my word, that was close. That is the toughest I've seen it be in the Masters this year, as Fisher dives for the inside again, runs wide with Dimolo. They rub wheels. Fisher absolutely desperate to get the win. Here comes Yeomans up the inside. He takes second place. Look at Brown. He's not far away from this either. Brown's going to go the long way round just in case there's an incident. Oh, couldn't this race last 2 more laps? Please, no. The checkered flag is there. Dimolo wins the race, the E-plate, and the championship. Absolutely incredible last lap. If only that race had gone on a couple of laps longer, we might have seen Steve Brown on the podium on his debut.